is extraordinarily symbolic, attaching many intellectual and moral curiosities to the hatchling. When did you first interact with the script of Ilja Rautsi, and how were you confident you could expound upon the layering of what he wrote?
Yeah, that was actually way back 2014 when he contacted me and said that he has this one sentence idea that a boy hatches a doppelganger out of an egg, and that is all he knows. And I just said that I find this very intriguing idea, but I want to change the lead character into a girl because I really think that I'm missing to see more stories about girls and women in films. So then we really started to develop the story together,
Ah,
and all those themes really came up from this one sentence. I started to think about that. Okay, if this girl is hatching something, for me it tells about she tries to hide some sides of her character, some of her feelings, and in hatching there is a theme of motherhood. So this became a story of relationship between mother and daughter, and there's also a theme of growing up in hatching. So it all really came from this one sentence, and then we
amazing.
developed the story together and worked very closely with the script together.
Although many aspects of the family are universal, what would people of Finland recognize in it that outsiders cannot recognize?
Well, I would say that I really wanted to make this film a very universal story, and I think there is no kind of hidden codes that only Finns would understand. So for example, we actually shot the film in Latvia, and I wanted to find a location that Finns could think that, oh yeah, this could happen in Finland, but it's a bit weird. And for example, anyone in kind of upper middle class could kind of feel that this could happen in my neighborhood, but it's a bit weird. So we search for locations. For example, the area where the girl lived is kind of area where all the houses are kind of lookalikes. They're all white. They all look the same, and it's a bit
Right.
creepy. I think that's they are
Yeah,
so
well, yeah.
kind of.
Now, you set the competitive aspect of the girls' women's in gymnastics. What fascinates you about that sport, and how did you want to communicate that fascination through how you presented it?
Yeah, that was from very early on. We discussed with the screenwriter that we want the girl to have some hobby where the mother is really pushing her. And then we thought that gymnastic fits for our story very well because it's a competitive sport. And in that sport, you have to uh, perform all the movements perfectly. It's a physical sport and your body has to be perfect, and that all those things really fit for our story. But
Right.
Ilya actually has been an ex-gymnast himself, but so that's also kind of created this sport for us. But for him, he didn't have any traumas about that sport. He really liked gymnast. So yeah.
Well, what I find interesting is that a man wrote what is essentially a woman's story. Obviously, you collaborated with
Yeah.
him, but what do you think that he what direction did you have to push him in to create more of the atmosphere that you wanted to do in the film? I guess.
Uh, yeah, well, I think we work very well together with Ilya because uh, we have very similar imagination. So our ways of working work so that we both throw ideas and build on top of each other's ideas. And the way I wanted to push this was really that it is first of all story about the girl and story about the relationship between mother and daughter, and that's where we are focusing on. And also uh, the theme of social media came there because I started to think that, okay, we wanted to tell a story about this mother who tries to keep up appearances of perfect, happy family. And I think today's way of keeping up appearances is really social media. So I wanted her to be an kind of influencer.
What are you trying to communicate regarding what the daughter loses in her attachment to the hatchling, mirroring her adolescent emergence, versus what she overtly and obviously gains?
Yeah, well, what she loses is what would happen if somehow her kind of darkest impulses and her kind of unwanted feelings like aggression and anger and would get loose. What would then happen if she can't hide and control them? And that is the kind of danger in the film. But what she also gains is a relationship with someone who accepts her fully as she is always, and what she gains is kind of also some tenderness and companionship into her life, and that is what she's missing. And because I also think that it's important to be connected with your feelings, no matter how scary they might be.
You and Ilja create a certain type of family dominated by a mother who selfishly creates her own perfect world at the expense of everyone else. What are you expressing about this type of matriarchy, and do you believe it's becoming more relevant in society, or is it just the way this family survives?
Well, basically, it's I think the way this family survives and the way their dynamics work, and I also feel that they're in this dynamics of this particular family. It's the father who is all the time kind of pulling back and doesn't take responsibility. And I think that often in relationships, it happens easily that if the other person, whether it's male or female, is very dominating, the other one easily kind of just pulls back and let the other ones to decide. But in this family, neither of those parents really notice the feelings of their child. And I think the father is also as guilty as the mother of the daughter feeling bad and feeling alone and not wanted, because the father doesn't face her either. She's all the time kind of escaping from situations.
Okay, final question. What kind of affection did you develop personally towards the creature that you and the production team created? And what is sympathetic about the life it was given through the story and your direction?
Yeah, well, I really wanted that the creature in our film is not just all evil creature. Well, it does bad things, but it's also just someone who really just wants to be loved. It's very disgusting, but it really wants to be loved as it is, and so we made this creature as an animatronic puppet, and wonderful animatronic master Gustav Högen, who has done Star Wars and Jurassic World and Prometheus. So his team made this puppet for us that we had designed in Finland, and in the shootings there was kind of 5 puppeteers around the puppet, moving the puppet with rods, and Gustav was moving the facial expressions with remote controls, and so there was a lot going on, and it required a lot of effect. But especially because of that, I really got very fond of our creature. So yeah, I like that creature a lot.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2022.